Welcome back, Momentous family. Today we are going to be talking about the one thing you want to make sure you look for when buying your next house. Now, this point is missed very commonly, and we look at buying houses for homeowners and what to look for from a contractor's point of view, because we know the cost of things, we know the lifespan of different members, how long that's going to decay, rot, all these different things. So that way when you buy a house, you're buying a house that's not only going to give you a good market value on the resale, but then also won't cost you tons of money in maintenance or have these surprise charges when you weren't looking forward after 2 years of owning a home. So that's what we're going to look at today. And that one thing, it's hidden. It's in the front of your house. It's your front door. What type of front door do you have? And the awning or the coverage over that front door matters greatly. In fact, any door, whether it's a side door, front door, any exit, the type of door and the coverage over that door is going to matter on how long that door actually lasts. So often do we want that beautiful front door, maybe it's wood, you get that natural feeling, the weight, the quality of a wood, solid wood door, also the insulation properties of it. But that type of door is not good if you don't have an awning over your front door. Now, what are we talking about when we say awning? The best bet would be having a front balcony or a real balcony with a roof going right over the top of it. The next step down would be a portico, which is a small little roof structure at the front door. Usually it's maybe 8 or 6 feet wide, maybe 4 feet deep, and then you have some steps going down. That's a portico. And then at the very bottom of that list, we have an awning, which is a mini roof structure, which really just protects that front door and all those moldings from water hitting it constantly during rainstorms. Why is this important? So if you have a wood door, just like any other wood moldings on your house, it's gonna rot out eventually. No matter how much painting you do, keeping the paint in great quality is definitely gonna help, but it's gonna get in nooks and crannies. That water's gonna seep in eventually. It's gonna sit there, and that's gonna invite rot on that door. So we definitely don't want that, because front doors to replace are anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 depending on the spec of the door. Is there lights on the side? Basically there's glass on the side or the top. The design of the door itself could be $5,000, and then you have 3 to 4 days of carpentry plus painting. So that's why we want to make sure that when you buy a home, you're not getting smacked in 2 years or 3 years with a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 expense just to get that front door in the right quality shape. The other part that you want to look for is not only the door itself, but that bottom saddle that runs underneath the door and maybe even underneath the windows on the side of the door. Now that's typically an oak or mahogany type of wood, and if there isn't coverage on top, there's going to be water hitting that constantly, sitting there and not fully running off, constantly damp, and that will enhance where it actually rots sooner and faster. It's going to come on the ends and then creep inside as it follows those grains. Another place where we definitely want to look at, where you're not only looking at the door to replace, but it's going to be the whole front door unit or side door unit. Very expensive to do this, and that's why we're looking at this. So when you're looking at your next house, keep that in mind. Now, why do you want to actually look at this? Okay, say you found that dream home that doesn't have a front entrance. You definitely want to keep this in your mind, that there's no awning, there's no coverage over that front door, because it might be a huge expense going forward. So you might want to prioritize that, and if you have a few houses you're looking at. Now, if you say, hey Patrick, I found this dream home, the layout, the location, it's all perfect, it doesn't have a portico, do I have to build one on it? Am I looking at the front door? What are some tips and tricks that I can use while looking at this house, because I definitely do want to own it, but maybe maintain it or actually get a better price? And that's exactly what I would say, is that I would say when you're looking at all these houses, say you picked your dream one and it's a wood front door and there's no portico, there's no front balcony, there's no porch, there's no awning, I would definitely use this as criteria when working with the seller to actually decrease the prices, especially when the comparables in that area maybe have a portico, maybe have a roof structure, a front balcony or porch setup on it. That's a huge benefit on these other houses, that the house you're currently looking at doesn't have. So definitely go with some concessions on it, an arguing point on why you can actually drop the offering price on the home. Secondarily, some other things that you want to look for is that even if there is no awning, you want to make sure that door is synthetic or composite base. So that basically means that there's no wood in the actual door. It's a PVC, a composite. It'll last a lot longer. Say instead of rotting out in that 10 or 15 mark, you're looking at the 20, 25, 30 year mark, or even longer with better insulation quality. So that's another thing that you can look for is the door synthetic? Is the door a composite door? And then with that, the moldings around it, because the moldings don't have any coverage either. So are they wood? Or are they a composite or a PVC, like an AZEK type of material that won't rot out in that 10 years from constant water going on it? One last thing on some tips on looking at these houses. Now this is a preventative maintenance thing. Always keep that front door nice and pristinely painted. Make sure there's no flaking paint. But then also the door saddle, what we talked about, always have that door saddle refinished every single year. Now you can stain it and then put a few coats of poly. On this particular setup, we would definitely want to go an oil-based polyurethane. That's going to create a protective layer on the outside. I would say I would go 3 coats, and then every single year definitely touch it up, and that's going to seal the wood in there to make sure that no water actually penetrates the wood and enhances the lifespan of the actual saddle itself. Let's recap on all this. When you're buying a home, always look for what that front entrance looks like. Is there a porch? Is there a portico? Is there an awning over that front door? If not, what is the door material? Because we want to make sure if the water's going to hit it, is it going to last a long time? If it's a solid wood door, definitely question it, because it's probably going to rot out in 10 or 15 years, and that's from the new. And if you're buying a house, it's probably already got some lifespan on it and has some travels on it, so the life of a door is actually going to be shorter than that 10 or 15 years. What you want to look for is if there's nothing, if it is a wood door, make sure it is a synthetic or composite door, so that way it's lasting even longer. Now, if you do find a house without a portico or an awning cover on it, use it as arguments on why you can offer less for the house and the seller should take it. This is a huge point, and you don't want to be stuck with a $10,000 bill to replace that door 3, 4, 5 years later. You also don't want the issue of water infiltration going underneath the door under a heavy rainstorm, which we, as contractors, have seen many, many times. As always, this is Patrick Robertson. If you got any value, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. We're really trying to grow this message. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us here today.